The sun rose over the Zetherian capital, painting the sky with shades of violet and gold. Towering crystal-like structures reflected the light, glowing faintly with the psychic energy of the inhabitants. Lena Hart and her team stood at the edge of the city, observing the activity with awe. Humans had never seen anything like this. The harmony of architecture and living energy, the way the Zetherians' emotions seemed to flow like rivers across the city. Kayla walked beside Lena, her golden eyes steady and focused. She had grown stronger in the days since the first attack. Her telepathy was no longer a burden she could barely bear. It was a power she could control, especially with humans nearby. Lena felt a swell of pride. Kayla had endured so much, and now she was ready to lead her people in defense. Suddenly, the sky darkened. A twisting, pulsating mass of energy appeared on the horizon, larger and more terrifying than before. The predator had returned, drawn by the combined psychic energy of the capital. It moved like liquid fire, its tendrils lashing out as if smelling the fear and excitement of the Zetherians. Lena turned to Kyla. "This is it." "Are you ready?" Kayla's eyes glimmered with determination. "Yes, humans. Together, protect my people." The humans spread out, positioning energy amplifiers they had brought from the Odyssey. Engineers, scientists, and communications experts worked alongside the Zetherians, guided by Kayla. Lena herself stood at the center, anchoring Kayla's focus. Their minds connected, steady and calm, forming a bridge between species. The predator lunged, striking at the city's defenses with tendrils of energy. Buildings shook and alarms blared, but Lena's voice remained calm as she spoke to Kayla. "Focus on us. We are here. Nothing else matters." Kayla's golden glow flared, then pulsed rhythmically. She began to channel her abilities, drawing the predator's energy into herself. The humans amplified her control, their steady minds preventing the flood from overwhelming her. The Zetherians joined, forming a psychic shield around the city, their emotions harmonized with Kayla's guidance. The battle raged for hours. Energy exploded in the sky, sending arcs of light across the city. Buildings shuddered under the force and debris fell from the crystal spires, but Lena and her team stayed resolute. Their determination, patience, and cooperation with Kayla made all the difference. Kayla focused harder than ever, her mind a conduit for the combined strength of humans and Zetherians. The predator shrieked in an unearthly soundless roar, thrashing wildly. It was strong, relentless, and intelligent, but it had never faced a force like this. The unity of two species' minds and hearts intertwined, created something it could not comprehend or defeat. Lena could feel Kayla straining, but she whispered encouragement. "You can do this. Together we are stronger. You are not alone." With a final explosive surge of psychic energy, Kayla directed the predator into a massive energy field created by the human amplifiers. The predator writhed, twisted, and then exploded into light, dissipating into the void. Silence fell over the city. The glow of the Zetherian psychic energy dimmed, then returned gently like a heartbeat resuming after a storm. Kayla collapsed, trembling but alive. Lena caught her before she hit the ground. "You did it," Lena said softly. "You saved your people." Kayla looked up, tears in her golden eyes. "We, humans, together, stronger, safe," Lena smiled. "Yes, together. That's the most powerful thing of all." The citizens of the capital began to gather, their energy flowing gently in the aftermath of the attack. They approached the humans with curiosity and gratitude. Lena realized that humans had earned the respect of an entire alien civilization, not through weapons or dominance, but through understanding, courage, and collaboration. Kyla stood slowly, glowing faintly but steadily. She addressed her people in their melodic language, and the humans watched as the Zetherians' expressions shifted. Pride, relief, and admiration for the humans who had stood by them. Later, in a quiet courtyard, Lena and Kayla sat together. The city around them pulsed softly with light, a living testament to their cooperation. "You were amazing," Lena said. "I've never seen anyone control such power with so much focus." Kayla shook her head, a small smile forming. "You, humans, gave me strength."
"Calm, steady?"
"Helped me." "That's what humans do," Lena replied. "We learn, we adapt, we help each other. Even when things seem impossible." Kayla looked thoughtful, then said softly, Think we can teach each other, humans. Zetherians, strong. Together, Lena nodded. Yes, and we will. This is just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, humans and Zetherians worked together to strengthen the city's defenses. Kayla trained her people to use their psychic abilities with control, using humans as steady anchors. Engineers improved energy shields, scientists shared knowledge, and Lena coordinated efforts between both species. What had begun as a fragile connection had blossomed into a strong, lasting alliance. The predator never returned, but the threat had changed something fundamental. Humans had proven that even without telepathy or alien powers, they could stand as equals, protect and innovate alongside a species far more advanced in some ways. Kayla, once overwhelmed by emotions, now radiated confidence and leadership. One evening, Lena and Kayla watched the sun set over the city. The sky was ablaze with colors, reflecting off crystal towers and the glowing forest beyond. The humans were no longer visitors. They were allies, friends, and part of a story that would shape the future of the Zetherians. Kayla turned to Lena. Thank you for everything. I understand. Now humans, strong. Not only bodies, mind, heart, Lena smiled. That's what I hoped you'd see. Strength isn't just power. It's courage, compassion, and the will to help others. That's what makes humans human. Kayla's golden eyes shimmered, reflecting the setting sun. Then we, together, future, safe. Yes, Lena said, standing. Together. As the night settled over the capital, stars stretched endlessly above, a reminder of the universe's vastness. Lena knew there would always be challenges, unknown dangers, cosmic predators, and trials beyond imagination, but humanity had proven it could rise to meet them. Not through weapons or dominance, but through understanding, patience, and the unshakable courage to stand beside another being. Even when the unknown was overwhelming, Kayla smiled again and Lena felt a quiet pride. The little alien girl who had once cried out in fear was now a leader, confident and capable. And humanity, as ever, had shone through, not with brute force but with heart. The universe was vast, full of unknown wonders and dangers, but together, humans and Zetherians would face it. Together, they were stronger, and together they would thrive. Ethan had always loved exploring the stars. Ever since he was a child, he dreamed of discovering new worlds and meeting new life. He never expected that this dream would lead him to the most unusual situation of his life, being captured by aliens who believed he was meant to be sacrificed. The sky above the planet shimmered with strange colors, green and purple clouds swirling over a landscape unlike anything on Earth. Ethan's small exploration shuttle landed near a forest of towering, luminescent trees. The air was thick but breathable, tinged with a sweet scent that made him dizzy. He stepped out, scanning the area with his instruments, fascinated by the alien flora and wildlife. Suddenly, the bushes rustled. Before he could react, a net made of glowing threads shot out, wrapping around him tightly. He struggled, but the material was surprisingly strong. Figures emerged from the shadows, humanoid but not human. Their skin had a soft silver glow, and their eyes were wide and luminous. They moved gracefully, and each step made a faint musical chime. Ethan's heart raced. He had read about alien species that were peaceful, but these ones looked ritualistic. One of them, taller and with more intricate markings on her face, gestured for him to follow. Ethan had no choice. The alien's strength was far beyond his, and resistance would only hurt him. He was led through the forest to a large clearing. In the center was a circular platform made of smooth, glowing stone. Strange symbols lined the edges, pulsing gently. Ethan looked around and saw more aliens standing in a silent, formal arrangement. They weren't moving aggressively, but the air was thick with expectation. Ethan realized they believed he was meant to be sacrificed. He had encountered dangerous situations before, but this was different. He tried to remain calm, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. Then he noticed something unusual. Among the aliens was a young female, slightly smaller than the others. Her hair shimmered like liquid silver, and her eyes, large and round, watched him carefully. She didn't look angry or aggressive. She looked curious. Ethan's fear didn't disappear, but a small part of him felt hope. He had to find a way to survive, and maybe even turn this situation to something positive. The young alien stepped forward and motioned for him to follow her. Ethan hesitated, but the other aliens didn't stop her. She led him away from the central platform to a smaller, enclosed area. Inside, the walls glowed with soft light, and strange plants hung from the ceiling. It felt more like a living room than a ceremonial chamber. The girl, Ethan guessed her name was Leora, though he didn't know for sure, gestured to a strange, cushioned platform. She pointed to his shoulders, then to her own back, and finally rubbed her hands together. Ethan tilted his head. Could she want him to touch her? He took a cautious step closer. Okay, he said softly. I think you want me to help you relax. Leora's eyes widened slightly, and then a small melodious sound came from her mouth. It wasn't speech, but it was friendly. She nodded, encouraging him. Ethan realized the truth slowly, piece by piece. The sacrifice wasn't about harm. The aliens worked hard every day, and their bodies were sore from their duties. They believed that humans had unique hands, capable of relieving tension and pain. Somehow, Ethan had been chosen for this role. It was strange and a little embarrassing, but he decided to trust the situation. Carefully, he knelt behind Leora. Her back was surprisingly warm, and her skin glowed softly. He had learned basic massage techniques on Earth, and now he had to apply them in a completely alien context. He started with gentle pressure on her shoulders, feeling the tension in the muscles. Leora made soft, musical sounds of approval. Ethan smiled, feeling relief wash over him. The fear and stress of capture were slowly replaced by focus. He wasn't a prisoner anymore, he was a helper, a healer in this strange world. As he worked, he noticed more about Leora. Her movements were fluid, almost dance-like. She had a natural grace, but the strain in her muscles was clear. Ethan applied pressure carefully, testing his touch and adjusting to her reactions. Every time she made a sound or shifted slightly, he understood more about her body and the alien anatomy. After a while, the young alien sighed, a soft, contented sound. Her posture relaxed and her eyes closed briefly. Ethan realized he was beginning to communicate without words. Touch, observation, and empathy became the language. He could feel Leora trusting him, and in turn he felt a deep connection to this new species. Then a door opened, and other aliens peeked inside. They watched silently as Ethan continued to work. He felt a twinge of nervousness. What if they disapproved? But Leora's calm presence gave him courage. The others approached slowly. Ethan realized they weren't there to threaten him. They were there to learn. One of them tilted its head and pointed to its own shoulders. Ethan nodded, understanding. One by one, he helped the other aliens, applying the same care and attention. Time passed differently in this room. Ethan lost track of hours, focused entirely on helping. By the end of the cycle, every alien had received some relief. The young girl, Leora, gave him a small glowing token, something that looked like a charm or a badge. Though he didn't know its exact meaning, he felt honored. Ethan finally leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. He had survived the capture, but more importantly, he had gained something unexpected: trust, respect, and a unique role in an alien society. He had turned a terrifying situation into an opportunity to help, and in doing so, he discovered the strength of human empathy and adaptability. Before leaving, Leora stepped closer. She made another melodious sound and gently touched his hand, a gesture of gratitude. Ethan smiled. In a way, he had been captured not to be harmed, but to connect, to teach and to care. The day ended with the stars above the alien planet shimmering brighter than ever. Ethan looked at them and thought of home, of Earth, and of all the humans who might one day follow him to the stars. He realized something profound. Humans had a special power, not through weapons or dominance, but through kindness, understanding, and the ability to connect, even with creatures from a completely different world. Ethan didn't know what tomorrow would bring. Perhaps new challenges awaited or new species. Perhaps his skills would be needed in ways he couldn't yet imagine. But one thing was certain. He had survived, he had helped, and he had shown that even one human could make a difference in a galaxy full of unknowns. And in that moment, the fear of being sacrificed was gone. In its place was curiosity, purpose, and the first glimmer of friendship with the mysterious alien girl, Leora. The next morning, the alien city seemed even more alive than the night before. Ethan woke to soft light streaming through translucent walls, casting gentle patterns across the floor. The air smelled sweet and fresh, carrying hints of the glowing plants that grew everywhere. He stretched and looked around, realizing he was not restrained. The aliens had made him comfortable as if he were a guest rather than a prisoner. Leora appeared first. Her silver hair shimmered as she floated toward him with graceful steps. She carried a small object in her hands, a glowing ball that pulsed gently with light. Ethan had no idea what it was for, but Leora held it out to him with a small nod. He accepted it carefully, feeling warmth radiate through his palms. A soft sound came from her throat. Ethan had learned to pay attention to these tones. She was speaking in her own language, simple but meaningful. He responded with a smile and a nod. Over time, he realized that gestures, tones, and simple actions were their language, and his human empathy could bridge the gap. "You want me to help again?" he asked cautiously, using simple words. Leora tilted her head and made a sound that Ethan interpreted as yes. She motioned for him to follow. The room she led him to this time was larger. There were cushions arranged in a circle, soft mats covering the floor, and tools Ethan had never seen before. Small glowing lights floated in the air, illuminating the space like gentle fireflies. Several young aliens were already there, sitting quietly and observing. Ethan took a deep breath. He realized he had been given more than a simple task. He had been entrusted with something important, the well-being of these creatures. He started with Leora, guiding her to a comfortable sitting position. He carefully examined her muscles, noting how different her anatomy was from a human's. Her shoulders were tense and there was stiffness along her back. Using techniques he had learned on Earth, he applied gentle pressure, adjusting to her reactions. Leora's soft melodic sounds filled the room, signaling comfort and relief. Ethan felt more confident, realizing he could communicate through touch, attention, and understanding. The other aliens watched him closely, their eyes wide with curiosity. After a few minutes, Ethan motioned for another alien to come forward. The creature obeyed, approaching hesitantly. Ethan could feel its tension, much like Leora's had been. Slowly, carefully, he worked his way around the group, helping each one relax. Time passed quickly. Ethan noticed something remarkable. The aliens were learning from him just as he was learning from them. They began mimicking his hand movements, watching intently, trying to understand his methods. Their fascination reminded him of children learning a new skill, wide-eyed and eager. Humans are different, Ethan thought. Not stronger physically, not faster, but we understand pain and care in ways others might not. By midday, the aliens were no longer tense. Their postures were relaxed, their faces calm. Leora's eyes shone with gratitude as she floated closer, pressing a small glowing stone into Ethan's hand. It felt like a symbol of trust, a gift he didn't fully understand but deeply appreciated. Ethan realized that this simple act, helping, caring, and paying attention, had earned him respect. The aliens no longer saw him as a stranger or a sacrifice. They saw him as someone who could help, someone who belonged, at least in a small way, to their world. As the day went on, Ethan learned more about their lives. The aliens, Lerasians as he called them in his mind, worked long hours maintaining the city and the glowing forests. Their bodies were constantly tired from physical labor, and they relied on careful routines to stay healthy. Ethan noticed the intricate patterns of their society, cooperation, respect, and a delicate balance with nature. He also discovered their curiosity about humans. Leora in particular seemed fascinated by simple Earth objects Ethan carried with him, his small notebook, a pen, and a portable water filter. She examined each item with care, tilting her head, touching them and letting them glow with her own energy. Ethan explained their uses with gestures and simple words, and she responded with sounds and lights that conveyed understanding. It was a kind of exchange, a silent conversation across worlds. Ethan realized that humans could bring value not through force or technology alone, but through empathy, observation, and ingenuity. Later, Leora led him to a larger chamber filled with alien devices he did not understand. She gestured toward a glowing mat and made a motion suggesting he should sit. Ethan complied. She then placed her hands on his shoulders, guiding him to feel tension points and relaxation zones. Ethan chuckled softly. "You want to learn human techniques?" he guessed. Leora made a musical sound that seemed like laughter. Over the next few hours, Ethan taught her simple movements, stretches, gentle presses, ways to ease tension in the back and shoulders. She copied him quickly, her movements precise and elegant. The other aliens watched, learning from both of them. Ethan realized that he was no longer just helping. He was teaching. And teaching was a form of trust. The aliens were opening their minds to something new, letting him share a part of human wisdom. By evening, the chamber was filled with soft lights and quiet energy. Ethan could feel the fatigue of the day, but also a profound sense of accomplishment. He had come to this planet expecting fear and danger. Instead, he found connection, learning, and purpose. Leora floated closer again. She placed her hand on his and made a sound that Ethan recognized as gratitude. He smiled, feeling a warmth he had not felt in a long time. Humans could adapt, humans could care, and in this moment, humans could teach, even to an alien race. Before leaving the chamber, Ethan looked around at the young Laurasians. They were no longer cautious or wary. Their eyes were filled with curiosity and trust. They had accepted him, not as an outsider, but as a part of their community, even if temporarily. Ethan reflected on what had happened. He had been captured, yes, but the capture had led to understanding, respect, and mutual benefit. The aliens had expected a human to be a victim, but instead he had become a friend, a teacher, and a helper. That night, as he rested on the soft mats provided for him, Ethan thought about the galaxy beyond this planet. There were so many worlds, so many beings, and yet one human could make a difference simply through care and understanding. It was a quiet kind of heroism, but powerful nonetheless. He imagined what humans could do if they approached other civilizations with the same empathy and willingness to learn. Perhaps this was the future of exploration, not conquest but connection, not domination but cooperation. Leora came to him one last time before he slept, her eyes glowing softly. She pressed her glowing hand lightly to his shoulder, a gesture that said more than words could. Ethan nodded, understanding completely. Trust had been built, bridges had been formed, and for the first time on this strange planet, he felt at home. As he drifted into sleep, he made a silent promise he would continue to help, to learn and to share human wisdom wherever he could. The galaxy was vast, but he was not afraid. Humans had something special, and even in the middle of the unknown, it could shine. The next day would bring more lessons, more challenges, and more opportunities. But for now, Ethan rested, content in the knowledge that fear had been replaced with curiosity, suspicion with trust, and isolation with connection. He was no longer a sacrifice. He was a human in a galaxy full of wonders, and his hands, his mind, and his heart were exactly what this alien world needed.